What BMC's been looking at for the last bit is, again, how to get that better customer experience, that better end user experience, how to give them the information they need, especially with the move to mobile devices being so strong. And really, your end users are driving you. They're telling you things they want you to do. They're really pushing the envelope. So it's IT, unfortunately, we can't just sit back and say, no, sorry, you're not going to be able to do it that way. We need to be there for our customers wherever they are, wherever they're traveling, whatever office they're in, to really make sure that they can communicate with IT quickly and easily, and that we aren't a roadblock for them in any way, shape, or form. We never thought we were, but the more we can communicate with them through the devices they're currently using, the better off we are. So when it doesn't go well, that's the IT friction. It's kind of an odd term, I know, but it's the idea is that if you're trying to get something done on your computer and you can't get it done, you're losing productivity. So anything we can do to smooth that interaction, reduce that friction, we're going to be better off, right? Whether it's when we upgrade them or we run the McAfee or we update the ASIC core version, trying to minimize the impact on them so that they can keep being productive. We did something here at BMC, for example, recently where it used to be that when the password on a mobile device was incorrect because we changed it on our desktop but we didn't change it on our mobile device, our account would get locked off. We'd have to call IT and they'd have to reset it for us. Not a big deal, but when you're talking 6,000 plus people, that kind of thing can add up. Well, now we have it set up to where if there is a password lockout for the account, if they know we have a mobile device, they'll actually unlock the account and send us an email, say, hey, you need to reset the password on your device. So we saved that call. They're being proactive. Just one little piece of friction that's just been reduced because, oh, yeah, I got to change it on my device. That's right. Thanks, IT. Those kind of things get really important. So how do you get there? I mean, it's all the stuff RightStar's been talking with you about, BMC's been talking about with you for years, ways to provide your services, do that, the business service management message where you're really focusing on the critical services, getting them in the right place. Some things need to be on-premise, some things need to be in the cloud, and really working through and standardizing and automating as much as possible. The simple password reset thing is an example of an automated process. We actually have one now with MyIT too, where if I go to a BMC location and I need to get a temporary ID on the wireless system in that location, we now have it all set up in our MyIT where we can do that. We can request it. We get it right away, and so I can be on the Wi-Fi network at that particular location. So some very cool things we're trying to do so that we can better talk to you guys because our IT is going just like you guys. They're trying to automate, trying to reduce that friction. And there we go. So these are the kinds of things we're talking about, especially around MyIT. Obviously, the self-service is a big piece of that. Some of you may have seen MyIT before. Some of you haven't. Some of you may be using our service request management system, which is definitely self-service, has a lot of power. There are advantages to that. But MyIT is going to be more universal, and there's more things we can do on MyIT. So we're going to talk about that and how we can better accommodate end user needs. So, I could read the slide. I promise I won't, where you're going to see it. We are going to do a demo of MyIT in just a minute on the iPad. But these are the kinds of things you can do, and we're going to see these when we're in on the demo. So for those of you that have seen MyIT before, and I apologize, not the prettiest slide, key things around 1.5. We still, of course, have our Apple device supported, but we're now supporting, went too far. We're now supporting Android devices as well. I actually loaded it on my Android as well. Unfortunately, I can't show that on my laptop, but I loaded it on my my Android device. It's an app. It's available. You can run it on your Androids just like you can run it on your iPads and your iPhones. We also do now support HTML5, so we actually have a desktop app, or not an app, but you can run MyIT on the desktop as well as on a mobile device, or you can use your HTML5 browsers on the mobile devices as well. So that's very cool. So 1.5 was a nice big boost, and we're very excited about being able to welcome the HTML5 and the Android users into here. We're going to see the App Zone marketplace, what Dick was referring to. So we have a company now, and it's basically going to do an app store for the enterprise. You don't want all your applications necessarily sitting out there on the iStore, right? There's stuff you have for your users that you're going to want to have, particularly for your own applications. Now you can have your own app store, and from MyIT, I can go ahead and launch that, and I can get my applications and get them installed. So some key highlights on the 1.5 release, which came out, I want to say, beginning of September. For those of you wondering about iOS 7, 1.6 will support iOS 7, and we're going to have a patch for 1.5. That is a future statement, so I should mention that, but that's the plan. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't too many slides. Again, if you do have questions, put them in through the Q&A window or the chat window, and make sure that we can get to those questions. Question about is that per person. In terms of licensing for MyIT, it is a per person licensing, but they can have up to 3 devices, if that makes sense. And definitely RightStar can get you any pricing that you need. Okay, so if technology is working, you all are now seeing my desktop. And this is, let's go back. There I want to go. So this is mirroring my iPad. We use the Reflector app for those of you curious. And it uses the AirPlay on the iPad side to go ahead and show that up. Now one of the things, of course, is there's a lot of configuration you can do in here. And we're going to look at the configuration console. But this is kind of our standard setup. And I'm on the home page right now. So you can see I have the blue box over on the left is the home page. And then right here I kind of see a summary. Some services that I care about, are they up or down? What are my open requests? And my current location. And then you've got the items on the left of the menu that you can go down. Obviously one of the main things I'm going to do on MyIT is ask for help, right? I have issues. What I'm exposing out here, for those of you from the Remedy side, out of the box we expose service requests and knowledge articles from Remedy. If you're using a service desk other than Remedy, if it's a BMC service desk, we will be building in the integrations for other products as well. If it's a non-BMC product, that would need to be a customization. But I can come in here and I can come look at these things and see what the things are out here. Maybe I just want to report a generic issue. So I can go ahead and type in the summary. I'll do something very descriptive here. Help, I've got the impact. I can do a description, more help. And I am not a good iPad typer. So this is just a standard SRD that I'm exposing out on the MyIT application. So it's not that you're doing extra work. You're not duplicating things. You're using your SRDs. If you're using SRM right now, you're using those same SRDs out here. And I can go ahead and submit it. And it's going to be in the queue. Maybe I have a question. Maybe I want to search the knowledge base. So I can go ahead and put in my search term, do a search. And I can see that I've got some knowledge base articles here that I could go ahead and bring up. Okay, so my connectivity can be a little slow, but normally you would see a knowledge base article over there. You guys get the idea. Oops, there, that one came up nicely. So again, coming from the knowledge base, the included Remedy knowledge management, that's part of the system. You can have your knowledge articles out here as well. But there's a cool thing out here that we don't have in other parts of our application, and that's service desk appointments. Sometimes you actually do need to have a service desk person call you or visit you on site, right? Some days that is necessary. You try to do it all through service requests and emails and whatnot, but sometimes we do need to make an appointment. So rather than going back and forth on the phone, trying to figure out when I'm going to have time, when they're going to have time, you can actually set up appointments out here. So I'm going to say maybe I'm going to be in Houston for a training class next week, and so there's some stuff I want them to do to my laptop while I'm down there. So this is going to go ahead and show me the calendar data, and this is, again, you configure how many analysts you normally have available for appointments, and we decrement them as we go through it. So let's say next week I'm going to be in Houston, so let's do it at 10 a.m. Maybe I need my laptop re-imaged. We all know that happens occasionally. So now I've just sent a ticket into the queue. They've got it on the calendar. They're going to be able to, book a time. They know I'm coming. They know they're going to be ready for me. And the next person that comes in to make an appointment, I think I have 3 available at this time, so there's still 2 more people that come in and take tickets. When all those appointment slots are used up, they're not going to be able to pick that time. So in this case, I have 3 people. So 3 people pick 10 a.m. appointments. The 4th person is going to have to pick another time. So very nice. Oh, boy, did my auto-typing mess up on that one, didn't it? Well, you guys know, you all know about iPads and auto-typing, so nerd laptop instead of need laptop reimage, but oh well, we all know how that goes. They may have to call me on that one. So it's been submitted, it's in the queue. And when I mean it's in the queue, it's in the queue. If I'm over here, I'm logged in as a service desk analyst. If I refresh, most of you are familiar with this incident console. If I refresh it, you're going to see those two things that I just put in have come into the incident management queue. So on the back end, you're still working the way you're used to working. Here's my help. I need to, I need some help. My very descriptive problem there. I'm sure you guys have similar end users who put in similar descriptions. So I need more help. I've got that in there. I've got some information over here where it came from and things like that. And similar with the support, the appointment. Comes right into the queue, same place you get everything else. It gets auto-assigned, and then, of course, that person can mark their calendar. So you're not working in something different on the back end. But the front end, we're getting in some really good information, or getting some really ease of access for the end user. But that's cool. I mean, it is cool. But, you guys have been submitting tickets through the web for a while, so you're probably wondering what else is there in MyIT. The location is fairly cool. And this is where stuff gets interesting. So I've got my location set up here, and you can see BMC's sitting there. The blue dot, if you can look toward the right of your screen, middle right, that's where I am. I'm located outside of Mariposa, California, sitting there in the middle near beautiful Yosemite. Those of you that heard about the fire, it was up top, up around where you see Sonora, Twain Harte, etc. That big fire we had was up there, about 20 miles from me. So that's where I'm located. And I've got the closest BMC location over here. So it's kind of cool. It's using Google's map. It's knowing where you are. There are some other things you can do here. But I'm going to say, well, I need to go to the San Jose office maybe one of these weeks, and maybe I need to find out what the office layout is, or I'm meeting somebody on one of the first floors, or I need to know what it looks like. So you can load floor maps into here. Now, this is where we start talking about cool uses. We have a customer who's bought MyIT across the board, and what they're using it for is hoteling. They no longer give cubicles to people. So they have a kiosk that when you go to their office, the main lobby, you go to the kiosk, you put in your information, you say you want a cubicle. They tell you what cubicle is available. They route your phone to that cubicle. And then anybody who needs to find you that day can use the system to say, what cubicle are you sitting in? That's just one kind of cool use. You can actually set it up, and I don't have good data on here, but I could set it up if I had a printer that was sitting around here. I could actually point with the QR code, which is up in the top right. I could point the QR code at the printer, zap that printer in, and report a ticket from here. So from the floor plan, find the printer, put in a ticket. I know I was talking with somebody at a large cheap store, but they do a lot of camera printing. They do a lot of printing out of people's film, people's cameras, people's digital images, that kind of thing. And she was saying that when they go to fix a printer, so a printer dies. One of their many printers in there dies, and they can't print film, and they can't print the pictures anymore. They have to go through a lot of work to figure out what the proper process is to report a support ticket, right? They have to pull out the books. They have to look for this particular printer. Which company do they call? How do they get support? Where do they go, et cetera? Well, with MyIT, they could have a QR code on that printer. They could point the iPad at it or the Android at it and zap it, and then the system would know, for that printer, we're going to go this route for support. For that other printer, we need to call this phone number. It would really speed up the process. Because it's such a pain to figure out how to get support, the clerks end up not calling, and so the printer's down for a few days till somebody finally takes the time. So you can start imagining things you can do very simply. I mean, we talk a lot about MyIT being for the end user. I could see this being beautiful for support. Imagine you're in a hotel chain, and you're sending your technician out to fix, the network in a particular hotel, or one floor is having issues, or it could even be the air conditioning, whatever it is. Well, you can send your technician out with the floor plan for that hotel, so when they get there, they aren't wasting a lot of time wandering around. They can go through, they can do whatever they want, all that kind of thing.